Are you still using incandescent light bulbs in 2021? Are you using compact fluorescents in 2021? You probably shouldn't. Maybe in limited use situations, certainly in certain cases like for oven lights, you need to use incandescents due to temperature and whatnot. And maybe in certain closets and very limited use places, maybe it makes sense to use your older bulbs. But in common high trafficked areas where places where you have the light bulbs on for more than 10 or 20 minutes a day, I'm not saying hours, minutes, you will find that you hate your money if you don't replace them with LED bulbs, because LED bulbs have now gotten so cheap and so good and now come in so many different varieties, both clear, frosted, decorative bulbs.
You got one right there.
Candlelight bulbs like this, although this isn't even a very good example, but it is an example. They are so power efficient that even with our amazing electric rates here in Texas, we pay just over 8 cents per kilowatt hour for power. And I know many of you pay way more than that for power. Some of you, especially in California, Hawaii, New York, Australia, Germany, pay 3 or 4 times that for power, in which case you probably should even replace your closet lights, because minimal use over several years is so abundantly clear that you should replace your bulbs. We have replaced all of our bulbs.
Give me the bulb.
We have replaced all of our bulbs in both our office and our home. Even the working ones. I mean, bathrooms, kitchens, bedrooms, everything. The economics are clear. Bright screen warning for those of you on dark mode. These are 24 soft white. They also come in bright white. Soft white LED bulbs. They are 60 watt equivalents. So they put out about the same amount of lumens or lights, the same amount of brightness for your room as a standard 60 watt incandescent. But they use only 8.5 watts of power.
That's about $1 a piece.
That's about $1 a piece. 24 bulbs for $24 delivered. The bright whites are actually a little bit cheaper at $20, but I actually use the expensive ones because this way, if you get the cheaper ones, then great. You know, they're at $20 for 24, but I think most people in the home don't want bright whites. They want soft white for the home, usually. Sometimes offices will use bright white, but I mean, again, 20 versus 24 is not going to change the math that much. So the reason I'm showing that is I want to establish the cost of bulbs at about $1 a piece. There are some that cost more, especially the bathroom bulbs. We've got round bulbs that are 40 watt equivalents. They're those clear decorative ones. The LED version uses 5 watts. In our master bathroom at home, we have 10 of them.
We do.
There are 6 on the ladies' side and 4 on the men's side. It's because that's how they do bathrooms. What can I say? So that is 10 bulbs.
Correct.
Now let's start off with the supposition that we're going to use those lights an overall average of 2 hours a day. I think they might actually get used more than that. But if you think about it, getting ready for work or school or whatever you're doing in the morning, turn the lights on, shower, bath, you know, you go check on something, you cook food, you come back. I mean, you might turn them on, you might turn them off. But let's say, you know, an hour in the morning for whatever you're doing. And then you'll have it on at various times throughout the day. Maybe you turn it on in the evening. Sometimes you might have more, sometimes you might have less. But let's just say 2 hours a day. Now, out of 24 hours, that means 22 out of 24 hours they're off. Is it worth replacing them? How long does it take for you to get your money back? Well, we pay 8 cents a kilowatt hour, but 10 is a nice round number. And I think we are below average. Even for most people, we're way below average. And for those of you who pay 20 and 30 cents a kilowatt hour, the numbers are so much a no-brainer. If you're still using incandescents, you hate your money. It's that simple. The cost of the bulbs is trivial compared to the power savings. So So we'll use 10 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
40-watt incandescent bulbs. 10 of them. That's pretty easy math. How many watts is that?
400.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up a calculator here so everybody can follow along at home. Now, you pay for power in kilowatt hours. A kilowatt hour, for those of you who haven't really thought about it lately, is 1,000 watts for a 1 hour period of time. So if you had a 1,000-watt light bulb, for the sake of discussion, and you had it on for 1 hour, that would be 1 kilowatt hour of power. If you're paying 10 cents a kilowatt hour, it would cost you 10 cents to run a 1,000-watt thing for an hour. An interesting way to think about it, if your hair dryer is 1,500 watts, then it would cost you 15 cents an hour to run your hair dryer. But you don't use it for hours on end, so you don't really care. But yeah, that's how much power your hair dryer uses. So 40 watts times 10 bulbs is 400 watts, correct?
Correct.
Okay. 2 hours a day. How many days are in a year?
365.
365 days in a year times 2 hours a day. That is 730 hours of runtime. Times 400 watts gives us 292,000 watts total consumed. But we need kilowatt hours.
Correct.
Okay. Divide by 1,000. That's 292 kilowatt hours over the course of an entire year for those 10 bulbs. Now, we're ignoring the fact that we're in Texas, and incandescent bulbs actually give off most of their energy as heat, and so they're heating the room, which you then must air condition.
Yep.
Now, the flip side is if somebody lives in a cold environment and they have to run their heater, then actually, technically, the bulbs are producing electric heat, slightly counteracting it. So it's a small net benefit in cold climates, and it's a net negative in hot climates.
Correct.
So figure, depending on where you live. So that times 10 cents per kilowatt hour is $29.20 worth of power a year to run those 10 bulbs 2 hours a day, 365 days a year. Now, I will open a new calculator and put that one off to the side to save that number. The power in LEDs is not free, but 40 divided by 5 is a factor of 8. And so 29.2 divided by 8 means it'll cost you just under $4 to run those bulbs for a year versus incandescents. Now, last time I checked, 29.2 minus 3.65 is a $25.55 savings. If you can buy those bulbs, let's say for the sake of discussion, you buy nice ones, clear, they cost a bit more. Let's say you pay $2 a bulb. I just showed you bulbs that were $1. Now they're 60 watts. The 40 watts should be cheaper, but they're not. They cost more because of whatever.
100 watts if you need more will be more.
They're a little bit, yeah. So let's say you pay $2 a bulb.
Okay.
$2 a bulb times 10 bulbs is how much money?
$20.
Okay. How much money do you save in 1 year of electricity on those bulbs?
Well, if you take $20 off of that, $5.55.
Right, but that's not the question I asked. How long does it... What question did I ask?
I have no.
If it cost you $20 to buy the bulbs and you save $25.55 in electricity, and this is, keep in mind, at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, double that number if you pay 20 cents a kilowatt hour.
Correct.
How long does it take you to pay back the investment in LED bulbs?
Do the math. You're asking me.
About 9 months.
9 months?
9 months. And they last 10 years. 9 months. And this is assuming only 2 hours of use on, 22 hours off throughout the day. Now picture more frequently used bulbs.
Correct.
Your family room, your kitchen.
Garage.
Are garages used that often? It depends on the person. Some people have a workshop in the garage. Some people do more.
Your light in the front. Your front light.
Oh, your front porch light. How many of you leave your front porch light on all night long? We actually replaced our front porch fixture with a very nice bright white LED fixture, which really lights up the front of the house much better than the old one did. It was about $85 at Home Depot for the entire fixture, bulbs, whole fixture, and everything. And that easily saves its cost in way less than a year. If you replace all of the bulbs in your house, you'll spend a couple of $100s in bulbs. And you'll save a couple of $100s in electricity anywhere between 6 months to a year from now. The payback is under a year. So effectively, you hate your money if you don't buy LED bulbs. Some of you live in apartments. Some of you rent a house. That's fine. Buy LEDs, replace all the bulbs. Take all the bulbs you took out and put them in the boxes that the LEDs came in and stick them on a shelf.
Yep.
When you move, put them back and take the LEDs with you. Or don't, because it's not that expensive and they'll only get cheaper. But, you know, you'll say you're still paying power. Most of you are. There's a few places where power's included, but generally power's not included when you rent. You have to pay your own power.
Correct.
Replacing the bulbs, you're helping your pocketbook. Mm-hmm. You're helping the environment.
Correct.
And they don't have like mercury and heavy elements like compact fluorescents. Now, some people are going to be sitting here at the screen going, but I have compact fluorescents. I replaced all of my incandescents back when CFLs were the future. So clearly it's not worth me upgrading. Well, it is and it isn't. Compact fluorescents generally use about twice the power of LEDs. They don't use anywhere close to the power of incandescents. But they do use more than LEDs do. Compact fluorescents do have a bit of a hum to them. It's not too bad in the modern ones, but they have a bit of one.
They do.
They have a bit of a flicker because they flicker with the power. They do some of them are better than they used to be, but they have a warm-up time. Mm-hmm. It's less compelling to replace compact fluorescents with LEDs. But if we're talking about standard 60-watt bulbs, those will use between 15 to 18 watts on a compact fluorescent versus 8.5 watts of an LED. And that box I just showed you is $1 a bulb. And so let's come back here and do the math again. But let's take this a step further. 4 main lights in your overhead ceiling fan. Let's say 6 lights in the kitchen plus 4 over the eating area, that's 10. 4 more in your playroom, that's 18. Let's say 3 bedrooms at 4 each, that's 12. Let's say 30 bulbs.
Minimum.
Okay. So it'll cost you $30 to buy 30 60-watt equivalent bulbs. Pardon me while I say whoop-de-frickin-do. How much power could you save? That's a good question. At 17 watts minus 8.5, you're saving 8.5 watts. How long are the lights on? Well, some will certainly be on more than others. But let's assume the same 2-hour per day average cycle. Maybe the kitchen's on 3 or 4 hours, but maybe the bedrooms are only on 1. So, of course, all 30 bulbs, let's say it's 2 hours per day average, unless you have children who leave the lights on and it gets missed and they're on all day. That's never happened. Or speaking of closet lights, how many people have kids who want the closet light left on overnight?
Yep. That's true.
That's like the biggest no-brainer in the history of no-brainers. So 8.5 watts saved times 30 bulbs times 2 hours a day times 365 days out of the year. That's 186,150 watts different. Between incandescents aren't even part of this equation. This is compact fluorescents versus LEDs. If you divide that by 1,000 and then times 10 cents per kilowatt hour, you're at $18.60 saved by swapping 30 compact fluorescents with 30 LEDs. Now that's $30 for bulbs and it's only $18 saved, so your payback is closer to 2 years. Except no hum, no flicker, no warm-up time, no hazardous mercury materials in the bulbs.
True.
And how many times do you have to accidentally leave a light on when you leave the house? How many times do you leave a light on in the house so people think there's somebody home? Everybody does that.
Yep.
To have that number get bigger. And then your payback is really only 2 years. Everybody watching should be on LEDs. What if, by the way, you pay 20 or 30 cents a kilowatt hour?
Oh, yeah, that... Well,
Then even switching from CFLs to compact fluorescents is a 1-year payback.
Exactly.
Those of you not on LEDs, and you can, as I said, you can get clear bulbs. The one she was holding up, that's a clear bulb. And they make different kinds. They make kinds that look like filaments but aren't. Yep. This one isn't. This is an old one. We actually don't like these. But there's such a variety of bulbs that you can get that look like incandescents and aren't.
Different sizes.
Different sizes, different shapes.
The ends can be different, so just pay attention to the end.
Yeah.
Some are skinny, some are fat.
Absolutely wonderful. And you can get dimmable LEDs. You can get 3-way LEDs that work with 3-way switches. You can get them that work with dimmer switches. Yep, now, they are more than $1 a piece. They cost a bit more. But the point is, you can go through your house, take a notepad, go through your house, and write down all your bulbs.
That's what we did.
And then make a note of...
I don't really remember any of them breaking yet, and they've been there for a long time.
No, they're reliable as dirt.
I mean,
most bulbs are pretty reliable, but it's we're helping the environment and saving money.
We've had them in so long that I couldn't even tell you the last time I've even thought about changing out a light bulb or have even had to change a light bulb.
Most of the LEDs we put in our house, we put in 2018.
2018?
So they've already paid for themselves. And our power bill's lower.
Yeah, much lower.
And our cooling bill in the summer is lower.
Much lower.
And our kids leave the lights on. Do you have anything to add to this?
No.
Because you never really liked the CFLs very much, did you?
No.
But you like the LEDs.
I didn't like changing them out. Well, I guess we really did it together, didn't we?
It takes a few minutes once.
Exactly. So...
let us know what you think. That's what the comment section is for. It's a little bit different thing than we usually do. If you guys would like more videos like this with, I guess it's tech. I mean, LED bulbs are technology. And of course, we're not even delving into the smart bulbs and apps with bulbs.
Exactly.
Well, now it's, and of course, RGB bulbs.
Well, exactly.
Let us know what you think, because I think this is a topic that isn't covered enough. What's the downside? I can't think of a downside. Anyway, thanks, guys.